Let's see if everything works. I think it does. All right. Sup, dude? Rick Purdue. Well, hello, Rick. You're the first one on. Thank you for coming out, showing up. Trying to, you know, do a little live stream before it just gets crazy hot. Good morning, good afternoon to Steve Moore. Oh, hey, Zach. Bo Alamon. JL Trim. Howdy, Podna. I'm glad you're here, Rick. Quit the circuit. You, sir, have sent me down a Telecaster rabbit hole. Well, I'm glad. I love sending people down the Telecaster rabbit hole. It's a lot of fun. Have Telecaster will travel. Of course, the more you have, the better. So you need at least two. You know, one is a backup. Let's see. All right. Hello, Telecaster Bear, and Taylor 40th, and Gruber Amp said, "Are you a steel saddle guy no matter what, even on blackguards?" You know, it depends on the guitar. I mean, it just I tend to like steel saddles because I kind of like the hardness of them, and they're a little more assertive. You know, brass is softer, it's a little more compressed, and if the guitar sounds great with brass on it, I'm not gonna just mess with it. Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much. Yes, playing a little, just head on the neck pickup into the old, this is the Vibra Champ Fender amp that they started making a year or so ago. That's kind of my go-to mess around the house amp. You know, I don't gig with it, but you know, it's just fun because it's 5 watts and it's got 10-inch speaker. Just, you know, a lot of fun. God bless, love the channel. Thank you, Funky Fresh Justice and David Wood. Yes, you caught me live. Here we are. I'll admit, I usually do my live streams a little later in the day, but it's really hot here today in Nashville, and so I just decided, spur of the moment, it's like, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because it's freaking hot here, and it's like, and I know in Europe they're having a heat wave, and I know in you know, there's a lot of places that get a lot hotter than Nashville. It's gonna get up to 96 today, which, you know, it is what it is. So. Jeff Squires, Zach, just got my brown box. Thanks again for the info. Yeah, thank you. That was, you know, it's always funny when you put out an episode. You have no idea, you know, if people are going to watch it or they're going to like it or whatever. And it was really born out of the fact that I had wanted to buy a brown box, you know, back in, you know, 2015, but they didn't have one to spare to sell me at that point. And then it was just, you know, my friend made this other thing, which was non-adjustable. And so I just, you know, went out and bought one. And then I thought, well, you know, I might as well do a video, you know, about it, because I thought, I think a lot of people just weren't clear, because it was like, as soon as I posted a picture of the brown box, I got all these weird responses where people didn't understand what it was, or they thought it was stupid, or all sorts of things. And so it was just kind of like, well, you know, maybe a little bit of an educational video on the brown box would be helpful. So I'm glad that people, I'm glad that you guys, you know, responded and enjoyed it. So the Funky Fresh Justice, 111 is the high today in Arizona. I believe it. Now you do have less humidity there, but yes, I've been in Arizona. I've been in, let's see, Phoenix. Yes, Phoenix and Scottsdale. I've been there when it's been 111. I was there for a wedding in August, just about 2 years ago in Scottsdale, and boy, howdy, it was hot. And we were staying at an Airbnb, and the AC wasn't working well, and we couldn't get it cooler than like 88 degrees in the house, and it was kind of hard to sleep at night. TCM, my goodness, have I actually caught a live stream? Yes, you have. Are you coming from? Are you in Austin, TCM? Yeah, or maybe you're just in the Austin area. So JL Trim says, Zach, does your Fender Vibrachamp reverb have the Celestion 1030, and do you like it? Yes, I haven't done anything to the amp. I got it from Fender. Fender gave it to me last year. It just showed up kind of unannounced, and at first I was just going to send it back, and then I decided to open up the box and actually play through it, and then I was so glad that I did, because it's something that I've enjoyed and used a lot, for the live streams or just practicing around the house. And it's just because it has such a good sound. I really like, of course I was using the tremolo, but it has a good fat sound even on the back pickup. And that was on the bridge pickup. So, let's see. Is the brown box available anywhere? Yeah, Sweetwater, a bunch of different guys have it. And it's available in like international versions. So there's one for the EU that takes 220, 230 and all that. So there's, yeah, it does that well. TCM is moved from Austin, but wearing his Austin Guitar House shirt. That's a good one. Speaking on the tiny amp solutions, have you tried the UA Audio Dream 65? I have one and I love it. Plugged it into my interface and it's my practice setup now. I've been really tempted by that one because I have the Strymon Iridium, but I hate the fact that it doesn't have reverb and tremolo built in, and the UA one does. I just haven't wanted to spend a lot of money right now. So, I've been thinking about, selling off some old speakers or something like that. Like I have a stash of 12-inch speakers that I've tried, that were things I tried in either the brown Princeton or in my blackface Princeton, or different amps, and I probably should just sell off a couple of speakers and try the Audio Dream 65. That sounds like a really cool one. Have you heard Fender is reissuing the 1948 dual professional amp? No, I had not. I wonder how realistic that's going to be. I wonder if they're going to put like field coil speakers that have like the choke transformer thing on there and everything. So that'll be really interesting. Do you know how Jerry Reed tuned his guitar? I don't know enough about. There is a friend of mine named Craig Dobbins who's written a couple of books on Jerry Reed, and I could reach out to him and find out, but I don't know off the top of my head. I know he, of course, would use standard tuning, but then also he would use a lot of altered tunings, because Jerry Reed was one of those guys that he would just, kind of mess with the guitar and get different, get whatever he wanted out of it. And, he played with super low action, whereas like everyone that picked up his, his guitars were just, they couldn't believe that he could even play on it, but he liked it when it was really easy to play. So, all right. One thing, just want to, remind you guys, I'm now on Patreon, and I appreciate the guys that have come over there and are following me. I'm doing some exclusive content on there, and there's some different levels of such. So just a a plug for that, and gratefulness for those that have joined on with that. So thank you. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. One is that I've continued to do more research on the whole Dolly Parton Jolene thing, just because it's kind of this weird thing where all of the information on that session is kind of in question. There's all this debate over where it was recorded and who played on it, and all this information is wrong, and it's just kind of an odd thing. And so I was doing some more research, and I found an old interview with Dolly Parton done in the 70s, and in it she says that the guitar lick at the beginning, so there's two kind of guitar licks. There's this kind of almost rakish kind of thing. There's that, and I don't think she's talking about that. I think she's talking about this part, that dun, da, 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 da. Anyway, Dolly says in this interview that was done with Alana Nash back in the mid-70s that she's the one that came up with that lick, and that she had to teach it to the session player, but unfortunately in the article she doesn't mention who. But anyway, I just thought that was fun. All right, Tele questions. Favorite Seymour Duncan pickups. I really like, they in the Antiquity series, they make a 55 bridge pickup, which is like the pickup on my 57 Esquire, and that's where the poles are flat except for the D and G. They're just slightly raised, and I really like that pickup. And I think that's a good, inexpensive, Duncan, bridge pickup. I think that's a great pickup. Also, the flat pole Antiquity is good. And yeah, I like to recommend, at times I love Ron Ellis, and Ron Ellis is a friend of mine, but I also like to, say, hey, there's other pickups out there that are less expensive and probably less, wait times and such. So that's a real good one. First live I've caught on your channel. Sweet. Well, thank you, William. Since it's Country Guitar Day, I was curious if you'd heard Sierra Farrell's new album. Got some cool folks on it. Jerry Douglas, Sarah, and Earl Scruggs' grandson, Chris. I read the reviews on that. I have not heard that album yet, so I need to go check that out. Let's see, Matthew Carson says, hiya, Zach, the big guppy. I could ask Tommy, but I'm sure Jolene predates his move to Nashville. Yeah. Yeah, the Jolene thing is just really funny. And actually, a friend of mine, her grandfather was one of the engineers on the Ray Shockley on the session, and she was recognizing his handwriting from the pictures from the Jolene video that I did. So, other pickups than Ron Ellis. He said, I would call Mark Foley. I just got a new SVL with a set in it. Oh, nice. Arcane makes really nice pickups, and I've recommended them to a number of folks, and a lot of them have been, very happy with them. I just went to San Diego and actually spent some time with Ron Ellis, and yes, his pickups are a bit more expensive, but he at least doesn't have the wait time that he had before. And he was kind of working out of his garage, and now he actually has a workshop, and he has a couple of employees, and so they are winding and building pickups all day long now. So I'm sure the wait on Ron Ellis pickups will be a lot shorter. They still will be, a bit more expensive than some of the other cats out there. Rick Perdue says, I bet Kent Wells knows about the Jolene thing. I bet he does too. And I know his son, Derek, and probably ought to reach out to Kent through Derek and see what he knows. Oh, here's Plexico again. I love it when I appreciate when he puts some money in the tip jar. And he says, okay, I won't bash the viewers for not coughing up the cash this time. Zach got a Fender DR2. Any tube recommendations? Love you. Well, love back to you, Plexico. So I'm assuming you're saying that you got a Fender, Deluxe Reverb 2 from the 80s, from the Paul Revere era. I think that's what you're saying. If so, then, I would try to put, I really like the, as far as new 6V6s, I like the Electro Harmonics Tongue Soul 6V6s. Those are really good. If you're wanting a louder amp and more output, then get the JJ 6V6s. Then otherwise, I think there's just certain positions where you should put a high quality tube. I like to put a 5751 in the V1 slot, just because I think it really smooths things out. If you want to get some more, specific recommendations, and we can do that via email or something. But definitely the Tongue Soul reissues. I understand all tubes are kind of hard to get right now, and I think probably the JJs are going to be kind of the easiest. I think JJs are good tubes, and I recommend that, without sounding like a commercial, I recommend that you get a brown box to kind of run those tubes at a little lower voltage, or get it, biased well. So, oh, here we got hi from Southeast Coastal Virginia. Got a new to me. Hold on, I got a new to me 64 Tele in blonde and want a personalized pickguard. Who do you recommend to contact? First, Elliot, you want a personalized pickguard. So you're talking about Jim, do you want one with your name on it? Well, if you want one with your name on it, then send me an email, zach@askzach.com, and I can get you connected with the person that made, my pickguard, if that's what you're after. Yeah, I think that's, it's really fun. So this is a clear pickguard I got from All Parts, but you could also, get something from someone else. And then I had some friends of mine design this. I think any designer could do something, but I could definitely hook you up with the people that did my pickguard, that did the paper and printed it up and everything. They did a fantastic job. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your 64. That 64 Tele. That's kind of the other era Tele that I would really enjoy, having, because it's kind of, I would love to have a black guard, and then of course this is a good, white guard era guitar, and then it'd be really fun to have a rosewood board, early 60s Tele, like a 64, and then of course I have a 67 maple cap. So TCM, thank you for the $20 toward the Dream 65. Very, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, there are tons of good winders out there, and it's kind of about finding out, what you like, and trying different things, and being willing to try stuff, and then if you don't like it, flipping it on Reverb or Craigslist or what have you. Let's see, John Truman, loving your channel. What are your thoughts on the Squire Classic Vibe 52 Tele with Tex-Mex pickups and a cheap Fender bridge? Mine sings. Those are great guitars. I mean, it just, to me, the Squire Classic Vibe really shows the strength of the design. And I think those are great guitars. And I think it's, you go to a shop and you have a couple to play through, and you pick out the one that sings the most. And it's like, yeah, I like the cheap Fender bridge. I don't want a big heavy bridge. I mean, this is the original, 57 bridge. It's really thin, metal, and it's just these little steel saddles and stuff, and that's part of the sound. And if you like the heavy hardware, that's fine too. But that's kind of the thing. Jolene is an incredible song. Dolly is as beautiful as her music. Also a fan of another Zach's version of oh yeah, the La Montaine's Jolene. Yeah. There's a lot of good versions of Jolene. It's just a song that's just been covered a lot. And if you think about the fact that Dolly Parton wrote the song I Will Always Love You, which of course was a big song for her and for Whitney Houston on The Bodyguard, and Jolene, I think on the same day. I mean, that's amazing. She wrote two of the biggest, kind of pop and country songs that have been covered just a ton in a one-day period. That's just ridiculous. So your Cactus Zack pickguard makes me think of the wrestler Cactus Jack for some reason. You know, I don't follow wrestlers a whole lot, so I'm going to have to look up Cactus Jack after this live stream's over. But I like it. Kent will dig you. Thank you, Rick. Hazy, what width size nut is your preference? I really like the 1 5/8, which is the width of old, Fenders, from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Kind of into the 80s, some of the American standards and such, they started getting a little wider. And a lot of modern Fenders are a little wider at the nut, and it's okay, but I just kind of like even though I have big hands, I'm kind of used to the string spacing here, and so when I play modern Teles, it just kind of feels weird because I'm so used to being able to cover 2 strings, with 1 finger at times. Like if I want to play an A suspension, I'm just used to being able to do things like that. And sometimes when there's just a little bit more, string spacing, all of a sudden it's like you can't do that anymore, and it bothers me. So then all of a sudden I'm having to change the way I play. And of course I have to change the way I play when I'm playing an acoustic guitar or a Gibson or something like that. But I just kind of like playing Teles a certain way. What value caps do you prefer? I always forget this. It's just the stock, cap that's in this guitar, and that's what I like. I like something that just has a good, decent, gradual, effect that doesn't do anything, crazy fast or, I don't put any kind of weird custom, caps in any of my guitars. I think maybe in one of them I have like some kind of Russian paper and oil cap that Ron Ellis gave me that I think I probably put on, one of my guitars. But this is, so I think, what is it, the .022? Somebody chime in and help me out here. I can't remember what the stock cap value is on a Tele. So, but that's what I use the most. The Squire, let's see, the Squire Tele custom baritone they just put out is great. Nick, I have heard that from multiple people. One was Jed Hughes, who's an amazing guitar player that I did a True Tone Lounge with. He's been singing the praise of that. It's always a testament to how powerful "I Will Always Love You" is that it becomes a cliche. Only the greatest songs do that. Yeah, it's true. I don't follow wrestling either. No idea why it made me think of that. All right. I like, Hack, what is that? Hackbox 7 or H-Fork? I don't know. Thank you, Sean McGee, for chiming in with the measurement. Well, Diana Ross was just an amazing artist. On the Esquire, do you find the intonation screws stick up above the strings? This is a great question. And do you find the threaded saddles are a bit higher for a okay? So these are smooth saddles; they're not threaded. But you're talking about the screws here that are threaded that adjust the height. I have changed out some of these so that they won't stick up. So some of the vintage height adjustment screws for the saddles, I've actually removed them and put in shorter ones so that they don't stick out, because I don't like that's one of my pet peeves, is I don't like for this, the screw to be sitting above that, because then that digs into your palm, and I palm mute a lot, And if these adjustment screws are sticking up a bunch, and especially if they're old and rusty, then you just start tearing up the palm of your hand. And Sean's absolutely right. You can just file them down, but I didn't want to file down the old ones, and because I had access to the same size screws that still had the straight, the straight head, non-Phillips standard head screwdriver adjustment, on there. So yes, yep, happens with Music Man saddles. Get the Dremel out. Oh, and then here we had a couple, 0.001 for a treble bleed, and 0.047 was stock on the tone control. Yeah, so the 0.047 is what I've used. Yeah. Oh, sorry for the confusion. I meant the 3 long intonation screws. Okay, same thing on that. If these are too long, the 3 that adjust it back and forth, if these are too long, I will adjust those out also. I will find shorter ones, or I will Dremel them down, because again, now one of them does stick out a little bit above the string, but it hasn't been bothering me a lot because it's in the middle at the highest area. And so it hadn't been bothering my palm. But if it does, I absolutely grind these things down, cut them down, or find another screw that'll work on there. Thank you for for clarifying that, Hackbox. The Big Guppy. Only weird cap change I've done is on my White Guard Esquire neck position to get more of a cocked wah sound. Yeah, instead of the muddy bass sound. Will Barton. I do the same things on my saddles on my old Teles. Just put the old ones in the case. Absolutely. Will is a great player and a friend, and he's let me borrow a guitar before, and a good dude, and he's been helping me. I have a little bit of a speaker swap sickness going on right now, and another thing I've been wanting to do is I've never tried a JBL speaker in my deluxe reverb. And in fact, I have never played through a JBL speaker in my life, which is just amazing, but I've just never been in a situation, never played through one. The only thing I've played through is I had a twin that had a JBL D130-15, but I've never, but it was reconed with like a paper dome and everything, so it wasn't really the same speaker anymore. So Will has been helping me in my insanity as I try to find an Alnico, like D120 or K120. So if any of y'all have a D120 or K120 JBL that you want to sell at a reasonable price, drop me a line. Let's see. Do you ever have to luthier on the road? What tools are a must to take? Well, I mean, I just try to have basic things, like I always have, little screwdrivers and things like that to make adjustments. And also, I always have a nail file because, of course, I need it for my fingernails to keep them smooth when I'm playing. And I even keep it on top of the amp. So sometimes, like in between songs, I have to smooth out my nails because I've messed them up because I got really aggressive or whatever. But also, I use those to, smooth out things that get weird, on the guitar. And then, beyond that, it would have to be like a bus tour if I was going to have like a bunch of gear with me. Otherwise, it's like, strings, tuners, things like that. But yeah, I don't take a whole lot of stuff out on the road because it just becomes too much. But I do make sure that I have everything I need to adjust the guitar, change strings on the guitar, and make and smooth out rough spots. So let's see. I've recently taken a leaf from your book and disconnected the tone control from the neck pickup, dialing in the neck first, then the rolling back the tone on the bridge just works. It does. It works really well, John, and I'm glad that. And for anyone that wants to try that, the wiring schematic is on my website, so askzach.com, and you just look under articles and you'll find it. Let's see. Common cocked wah. Yep. Interesting, the Dream 65 cabinet includes a 212 JBL D120 as well as a 112 with an EV. That's been another one of the things that's tempted me about that modeler pedal, is that they actually model some speakers that I'm interested in checking out. Christopher Bent says, I got my first Tele 2 weeks ago and the SG has gone in its coffin since. I've been using a boost sometimes as the pickups don't seem to have as much output as the P90s. Is that normal? Yes, it's absolutely normal, Christopher. A Telecaster, unless it has grossly overwound pickups, is not going to have the output that a P90 or a humbucker is going to have. And so, yes, a lot of guys will use a boost pedal or a compressor pedal or something to goose up the gain if they're switching back and forth. So that's very, very normal. And Jim Woodard said, yes, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, Jim, please contact me. It's Zach at askzach.com. Send me a text and I can connect you with the people that can help you. All right. Sean McGarvey, just got my first Tele. It's the most excellent Nacho caster by Nacho Banos. I've played, I think, 2 of his instruments, and one of them was owned by Ryan Warner. It's Steve Warner's son, and that was really a stellar instrument. And Nacho, has incredible attention to detail, and he's another one of those great builders. I'm amazed at how, his prices have gone up a lot in the last couple of years, but I mean, it's really high quality work. So, yeah, let's see. Just put a vintage 30 in your deluxe reverb because of you. Would love to do an amp tech video showing amp maintenance or bright cap clip process. That would be a good video, yeah. And yeah, there's a certain amount of maintenance that you have to do with tube amps, and just making sure that they're healthy, especially before you're going to go out and play a show with one, and making sure it's quiet, and then tapping on tubes and finding out, which ones are microphonic, and yeah, and then of course always having a backup when you're taking a tube amp somewhere. So. Whew. Heck of a first Tele. Yeah, that Nacho caster is a heck of a first Tele. Nacho, of course, is brilliant. And I have the Pine caster book, and I have the Blackguard book, and and he's a friend from afar, and certainly have a world of respect for Nacho. So, ever played any Nash guitars? Your thoughts? I think they're fantastic. I've played a couple of them. And it's like any other, I think they have a good high attention to detail, and I've played really, really good ones. I think you just go out there and play them. So, find one that you like. I always hate ordering guitars. It's just because it's tough. I hate getting a guitar sight unseen. I like to play stuff first, if at all possible, or at least have like an approval period where they ship it to you, and you can decide whether it, whether it floats your boat or not. So, Dolly Parton is a national treasure. I think so too. And I have to, as a resident of Tennessee, Dolly Parton has a book kind of club, thing where when your kid is born in the state of Tennessee, you get free books every month from Dolly Parton. So you get, like these kids books to read to your kids when you're putting them to bed or whatever. And it's like, and they're fantastic. And so it was like every month my kids got a book addressed to them in the mail, and it was just amazing. And that's just one of the things that Dolly Parton does, besides being an amazing artist and entertainer. And everyone I know that's ever worked for her has said that, they will drop whatever they're doing to go work for her. She is just an amazing person. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. John Ridgway says, still the best guitar channel on YouTube. Well, I appreciate that, John. There's a lot of great talent out there. Similar to pickups, there's just so many good makers now. Yeah, TCM's absolutely right. It's not like, there's a bunch of crappy builders out there. There's a ton of really great builders, and then it's just finding which one builds the stuff that you like, because you kind of you want to find the builder that kind of likes the same things you do, and because it's like you don't want to ask Dan Strain to build a Super Strat with a Floyd Rose on it, because that's not what he's into, and so, or but and you wouldn't want to get some, you wouldn't order an Eddie Van Halen guitar with 3 single coil pickups or something crazy like that. But yeah, it's just finding out yeah. Sean McGee says she will send you books anywhere. Wow, I didn't know that it had gone beyond that. And Chris Quinn said, I had a JBL and a Deluxe. Ouch. Yeah, I really love the Vintage 30 and the Deluxe, but there's just been part of me that's wanted to try an EV or a JBL. And so I've been, so actually a friend of mine, a guy at the True Tone office, has an old EV that's blown. And so we're trying to find a recone kit and see if he's into reconing it, so that I could try out an EV, at least somewhat on the cheap. And then I'm still looking for perhaps a JBL, and that would, of course, be a future episode. Tell us about Dollywood. I've never been to Dollywood. I would love to go. What tone pot cap combo gives you the ability to get those cool steel wah swells? Well, James, that's something that Danny Gatton is the guy that did that, and he had specialized pots and caps. I don't know that off the top of my head, but that's definitely a certain value of pot and a certain taper, so that, you know, to get the real wah thing, it has to be real quick, to where it's like it goes from off, basically from super dull to really bright very quickly, and that's how you get that effect. And then it makes it where it's not as good as a normal tone control, because it works well as the effect. Chris Eldridge often played a Nash Strat when he was on those live from here shows with Chris Thielen. Used to host. Always sounded great. Yeah. Itchy brother. Oh man, how late am I? You're not late. You're here. Afternoon from Texas, Zach. Love my Teles. Recently discovered Thin Lines. Dolly is a wonderful, genuine person. Always enjoy your content. Thank you, Terry. Did the Bakersfield sound guys use compression? No. I mean, they would have had maybe some light compression in the studio, because they would tend to compress everything when recording. But they certainly did not use any type of pedal compressor. There was no such thing. And by the time you get to the 70s, you know, kind of the Bakersfield scene was kind of over to a degree. When you get into the late 70s and early 80s, when Haggard is recording with Reggie Young in Nashville, he's definitely using a compressor. So if you think about That's the Way Love Goes, or Think I'll Just Stay Here and Drink, or Makeup and Faded Blue Jeans, a lot of that is a 56 Strat into a Dynacomp, and then in either a deluxe reverb or a Fender concert amp, one of the Rivera early 80s amp. That's kind of the thing. Hello from Longview. Nice. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Dolly sends books to the US, UK, Australia, Ireland, bunch of places. She is an angel. She sure is. I had no idea that she was sending books all over the place. So if you have kids, you need to sign up for the free books. Black Panel Bandmasters are absolutely cool amps. I've played through some of those before, and some of those that were converted into 112 amps. Those were a lot of fun. My youngest daughter, who's 32, whose Tele I steal as a Dolly fan, drinks her coffee from a Dolly mug. Perfect. Have you tried an old Jensen C12Q? Love them in my Geminis. You know, Chris, I don't really tend to like the Jensen speakers in Fender amps a whole lot, unless it's like more than one of them. Like when you're talking about a Vibrolux, but the deluxe reverb is like, I really like a higher powered speaker in there. I just need something with some more oomph to it. But I have tons of friends that have, done well with the C12Q, and even JD Seymour, I think he has used the C12Q at times. Let's see, do I have any beverage around here? I hate to do this, but I'm gonna get a sip of water real quick before I choke, and I'll be right back. Do 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 do. And I'm gonna hum so that you know that I'm not actually, gone for good. All right, here I am, back with some water. All right, back to the questions. Good afternoon from San Antonio. Yes, I'd like to see a video on compression. I did one on the Dynacomp, and I like compression if it's more on the subtle side. My favorite compressor is actually this, the Mirage compressor, because it's really subtle, and I learned about it from one of my heroes, John Leventhal, and I like that one. That's a good, not too terribly expensive, compressor. Also, just the good old Boss CS3 is really good, but it's really kind of an effect. All right, let's see. EVMs give you exactly what you input. Only speaker I've ever used for decades. Nice. Cali 76. Yeah, I've tried that. That's very nice. Saltwater Saddle Tramp. Good afternoon from Citrus City, Florida. I bet it's hot down there too. High headroom bell chimey kind of speaker works well to me. Jensen doesn't fit the bill. Yeah, I really, I've actually kind of, sometimes the Vintage 30 doesn't always fill the bill. The amp that I've been enjoying the most right now is my Vox AC10. And then we're talking about playing live. And it has an old Celestian blue in it. And so I've really been enjoying that amp a lot. And so I've actually been thinking about trying some different speakers. JD Seymour told me I need to get the Alessandro ceramic speaker. I think it's called a GA SC64 or something like that. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm giving up on the Vintage 30 by any means, but I have been wanting to try some different stuff. Do you do anything special to break a speaker in? Well, most of the time I try to find used speakers, and when I buy new speakers, I'll just play through it a bunch, and sometimes I'll even play like baritone, or a bass six through it, like this this guy here. So I'll plug this in, and that will really get a speaker moving and help it wake up. And then of course after you've played a show or two, the speaker's gonna be broken in. I know I've missed some comments here. Let's see, 12-foot Chain, who is a fellow Franklinite. He said he appreciated the Brown Box episode, bought a B stock with your discount code. Glad that worked out, and that was kind of Brown Box to offer a discount code to Ask Zachers. Noticeable difference on my 63 Bassman and 64 Super Reverb. Glad to hear that. 12-foot Chain has a wonderful channel that he does lesson videos where he takes songs and shows how to play it. Like I was watching one the other day where he was showing a Beatles tune. He does a great job and great focus, and uses the right gear and gets the right sounds and everything. So check that out. And he's a neighbor, and we've eaten Thai food together, which it's like we're brothers now. Let's see. Stephen Holt says, I like the Dynacomp. I like it too. It's very much an effect though, which I like, but it's a thing. Opto compressors are great. The clean blend knob was my compressor savior. That is a great feature, and there's a number of them out there that have a clean blend, and that makes a big difference. Would you recommend a book instructor video for finger picking? Man, I learned how to finger pick just by starting to use my pick with my fingers to play the James Burton kind of the fanfare thing, or the working man blues, like. I started from there. That's where I first kind of started getting my finger and my pick, working. And then I just started slowly, So I don't know of a specific book or instructor to work on finger picking. Just start trying to play like just playing straight down the chord, like play a C chord and go. That's a great finger picking exercise. You're playing, basically an arpeggio. And then you can get into other more extravagant things. So I hope that helps, Christopher. Sean McGee says, oh, that Alessandro is nice. Yeah, there's one on the local Craigslist here in Nashville that's I've thought about picking up. I gotta get some more water in me. And this cup is from the San Diego Zoo. I was at the San Diego Zoo last week. Had a nice trip out to California, and it was a lot of fun. I hadn't been out to California in a while. Let's see. Uh-oh, I'm missing some stuff here. Echoplex, Ecorec, memory. Fender low end can be challenged for a lot of speakers. Yeah, that's why I like the Vintage 30, because it tightens up the low end. Let's see, Itchy Brother says, thanks to you and Keith Williams, I'm a Stereo ToneMaster Deluxe user. Yeah. I found at 5 watts they keep up with bass and drums fine. Back's happy too. Yeah, I'm playing a show this weekend in Oklahoma City, and I've seriously been thinking about, because it's a corporate gig that's you know, I've played this place before, and I'm really tempted to take the ToneMaster because of the fact that I can just drop the wattage down and I can get the amp setting like I like, and it's kind of idiot proof when it comes to engineers because it has an XLR out, and it's kind of hard not to get a good sound. So I might be taking that instead of the Vox this weekend. So yes, a friend just sent me a Keeley compressor. It can do quite a bit. Yeah, they're great. Keeley, yeah, I have the old 2-knob compressor from when it first came out, and I used that for a very long time. It's a good, smooth compressor. I'm missing these comments. Yes, you're welcome, neighbor. Let's see. Let's see. Greetings from 95 degrees Denmark. Love the show. Well, thank you, Chris. There, yeah, I was in Europe a couple of years ago, and it was having a heat wave. I remember being in Madrid, and it was like 105. It's there's something, you know, I don't know why it seems more intense when you're in Europe and you're having a heat wave, but it does. After your vid on the Deluxe, Reverb picked up a reissue, and I'm set. Well, thank you, Terry, and I'm glad that worked out. Let's see. It's a tough job just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. That's right. I like thumb picks, free ups the hands. Yeah, Funky Fresh is right. I never could get on with a thumb pick. I've got a, you know, but the thumb pick really helps open your hand up, you know, and then it helps you with that independence thing. The problem is that strumming is hard for me with a thumb pick, and also up and down strokes. And then I was never able to get into this kind of thing, where, you know, it was just awkward going thumb, finger. And those guys like Brent Mason, they're actually sometimes doing thumb, finger, you know, even on the same string to really get those fast runs going. And I never could get that down. So I've kind of stuck with the flat pick and the fingers. Let's see. Who is someone new that you think is doing some good stuff for guitar music that we should check out? Man, I don't have, you know, some, you're probably aware of, you know, guys like Julian Lage and guys like Blake Mills, guys that are just, you know, doing really nice things with the guitar and getting good sounds. You know, I like them. You know, I like guys that get kind of good, pure sounds. I don't like a ton of effects, and that's what I tend to go for. So I tend to listen to a lot of older music, or, you know, but I do appreciate, you know, new music and when people are doing new things, but I just prefer when things aren't really overly affected. The Bogner Harlow compressor with the Rupert Neve transformer on it. Oh, I bet that is fantastic. All the Rupert Neve stuff I've, you know, gotten to check out, their direct box and stuff have been fantastic. Where are you gigging in the near future, Zach, in any way in which we might be able to see this, speaking from across the pond in England? Well, like I said, I was playing kind of a private corporate gig this weekend, and then I'm playing some shows. I'm actually going to be playing bass on some shows coming up this next month, and I'm having to really bone up on the bass because I haven't played a whole lot of bass in a while. So, you know, really the only live stuff that I have, you know, of course on YouTube, there's footage of me playing a gig in Tulsa, and it's just kind of some side stage, you know, footage, and I think it's called Live from Tulsa. So if you look up Ask Zach, you know, Live from Tulsa, you can see some footage. But I need to do some more like live streaming of me actually playing and stuff like that, because I know it's not a perfect situation as far as the sound is concerned, but I know it's fun. Let's see. Anthony DaCosta is great. So Billy Strings, yeah. How's the Cliff Gallup video coming along? I haven't. I need to dig deeper into that. Strumming with the thumb pick has a curve that seems to last forever, but okay. Very nice. Blake Mills, yes. If anyone's interested, they can. Amit Dutta, Calcutta, huh? I've been to Calcutta, India, so I will look her up. On banjo, I alternate thumb finger lines like Bela Fleck, but I can't on guitar. I just grip the thumb pick like a flat pick on tinny flat picking lines. You can borrow my 73 Telecaster bass. How much does that weigh, Telecaster Bear? I have a classic vibe P bass that's actually on long-term loan from a friend of mine, and it is super light, and so I like it. And so actually my son has been learning how to play on it, and so now I'm gonna take it on a gig. Bass rig rundown. Yeah, it's gonna be direct. I won't be taking an amp or anything. I think it'll be a clip-on tuner and a DI. So that's going to be all there is. Saw on Facebook, Julian just learned the wonder of neck screw inserts. His disassembled Tele was his carry-on. Yeah, guys have been doing that for a long time, and of course you're aware of that, Itchy Brutta. Yeah, and the neck inserts are essential. If you're going to take your Telecaster apart to travel with it, which is a great way of doing it, but if you're going to do it over and over again, if you're going to do it like once a year, I mean, who cares? But if you're going to do it a bunch, then you can get these metal inserts into the neck, not the body, but you have these inserts, and then you use machine screws instead of wood screws. So the wood screws, you get rid of them, and then you have, of course, blunt end machine screws instead that you use, and that works well. Jessica Hoops, The Coming, yes. You're right, yeah. Blake is amazing. Sierra Farrell. Okay, I think you're the second person that's recommended Sierra Farrell, so I'm definitely going to check her out. John Truman says he saw Albert Lee with Hogan's Heroes at a small club. Great gig, and he was so gracious to chat to afterwards. A real privilege. Albert Lee's been a huge hero of mine, and I got to play with him once with Brad Paisley. So we were playing a show out in Los Angeles, and I was guitar teching, but Brad knew that I would love to, play with Albert. So I came on for the encore and got to trade some solos with Albert Lee and Brad Paisley, and that was really cool. I have a CD of it somewhere. It's probably all scratched up and thrown in a box somewhere, but it was fun. And Albert was, super, super kind and just ridiculously great. So, and he had that Music Man, guitar that he plays, and he had a little Music Man amp, and he had a Korg A3, effect unit. I don't know why I'm so choked up today, but anyway, Albert's fantastic. Charles Burthound, I have not. I need to check him out. Yeah. The bass thing is. I'm probably going to do a video about that because it's a completely different mindset. The bass is not a 4-string guitar. It's a completely different way of thinking. I've noticed that Julian Lage is back to playing a Tele, not his calling signature. Yeah, I love the calling signature guitar, but I must admit I really enjoy him playing the Tele. I mean, he gets kind of a similar sound, but I love the look of a Telecaster. And regardless, he's fantastic. Wow. Albert and Ray Flack, Starlicks were my Bible. Absolutely, me too. I still have those somewhere. Oh, and yeah, he is. Yeah, Julian Lage has been using Fender black panel amps or copies made by Magic Amps out in LA, and he's been doing that instead of the instead of the Champs, which he used for a while. Let me add to the praise of Sierra Farrell, Will Gray says. All right, I'm going to be checking out Sierra Farrell as soon as we get off this. In fact, we're just about at that moment, and my voice is about to give out for some reason, and I'm out of water. So I am going to bid you all adieu and say thank you so much. You've been wonderful. You have all sorts of great comments, all sorts of great things to discuss. Pardon me. Watch for future episodes from True Tone Lounge, where I interviewed David Hood of the Swampers. So I interviewed him down in Muscle Shoals. I was a bass player on all that great stuff. Also, I'm going to be interviewing Don Kelly. If you know who Don Kelly is, Don Kelly was like the John Mayall of Nashville, where he had Brent Mason and Red Volkart and Guthrie Trapp and Johnny Highland and Daniel Donato and J.D. Simo. I'm going to be interviewing him next week. Sorry, very excited about that. And then, just, got future Ask Zachs and stuff, and just appreciate y'all watching. And much love and respect. Stay cool, stay safe, and I will see you all next time. Next month, we'll do another live stream. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye.